Welcome to the Defence Connect podcast, Australia's leading voice in national security and defence industry intelligence, direct from the nation's top policy and business experts.
Welcome back to the Defence Connect podcast. You've got senior journalist Robert Dougherty and our journo Bethany Alvaro.
Hello.
You will notice, empty chair, Steve's not here. He's on holiday. But the two of us are running the show while he's away.
A calmer episode.
It was like a more chill episode.
Yeah.
It's been a big week in defence, and we'll cap it off. We'll start it off with the Brereton.
Yes.
There's, some allegations of, I guess,
undisclosed.
Misconduct.
Yeah. It's kind of. So the Commissioner of the National Anti-Corruption Commission, Paul Brereton, I think is how you say his last name, has been asked by the Attorney General why he hasn't outlined the nature of his ties to the Defence Department. So in a letter that Attorney General Michelle Rowland sent to Brereton, she said, your recent declaration of interest and your earlier declaration of interest provided to the former Attorney General do not provide the details of the nature and extent of the activities you are undertaking at the request of the Inspector General of the ADF. So while he has been the head of the National Anti-Corruption Commission, he's been providing advice to the Inspector General.
But we don't know what that is.
We don't. Oh, well, it's about the Afghanistan.
Okay.
But he didn't disclose that until the ABC did investigations and found that it wasn't disclosed. That was in September last year. And yet his original declarations when he first came into the role in 2023, 2024, and 2025 never made any mention of his defence ties.
Wow.
So it's a bit
Yeah.
It's a bit
He's
messy.
been a key player as well.
Yeah. So David Shoebridge, the very popular Green senator, said that he didn't make the declarations of his involvement because of his failure as commissioner. So that's it's definitely just a thing of a conflict of interest and not saying it. And it's more like, why aren't you saying it?
Yeah. The secrecy in defence often, they're like that. Yeah.
It's just interesting, being the commissioner of the commissioner of the National Anti-Corruption Commission and having these secret ties. I don't know if it's I don't really know if there's any like malicious involvement, but it's definitely interesting that he didn't make it known before.
Okay.
A spokesperson for the Corruption Commission told the ABC, as reflected by Commissioner Brereton taking additional steps to no longer participate in any defence referrals, the Commission is satisfied with the current arrangements and strategies in place to manage any conflicts of interest.
Okay.
So it seems to be wrapped up, but
some might come out of it.
Something might come more,
Okay.
So,
something else we saw during the week, a avenue is open for personnel to join the space side of defence. So this is space operations, two new roles, space operations officer and space operations specialist. Is that something you'd be interested in, Bethany? What do you say?
Oh, maybe.
Space?
Maybe if journalism doesn't work out, go to space. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you go to space? I always think about this. Like, if I had the chance to go, would I go?
I think it's a once in a lifetime.
You would go?
Yeah. But then you hear about, stuff up there where you
get stuck for 2 years.
Yeah, but also like there's injuries and stuff you can get where you're exposed to.
True.
That sort of eyesight stuff.
But would you still take it though? Because that would be pretty cool.
I think you'd do it. Yeah.
Yeah. What about if it was like commercial? Like a commercial space, like a fun just like space trip.
I don't know if I'd do commercial. Yeah. I want it to be something important, like a defense thing. Yeah.
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 Can you imagine getting an email? Hey, we're doing a little press junket in space.
Yeah, I wish. But I do think these roles are obviously not in space. They'll just be sort of satellite communications, which is still pretty cool. If you are someone that works in satellite communications, let us know.
Yeah.
That'd be cool to talk to you.
That would be.
And this sort of topic right now is quite important. We saw, we've done interviews previously with some of the experts in the UAE, where they're saying that ability to look down from satellites and survey the battle space in defence and national security is the next big thing, and it's becoming more important every day. And that Space Force type stuff as well is very important.
How close can you look from a satellite into like a battlefield kind of area? Like
I feel like that's sort of might be a classified question, but I don't think it's like a Hollywood. I don't think you're zooming in onto like
Like
you know,
one person. Yeah.
Yeah. But I reckon you could probably get an area. Maybe there's a certain square radius that they would be able to have. Yeah. Certainly, a town or something sounds reasonable.
True. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That'd be a crazy job.
Otherwise, what's the point? Like, if you can't get as accurate as a town, maybe there's not enough information to make a good decision.
True. Yeah.
But yeah, it's good. It's a good option to have.
Yep.
If you're interested in the ADF, wow, space sounds really good. And I hope
Something
they have
for you.
like a cyber one as well, a cyber direct entry.
Yeah,
would be good
there
as
seems to be a lot more cyber related. I don't know what the word is, like sectors, I guess.
Yeah.
Growing in a lot of different like areas.
Yeah.
I think it's becoming a lot more of a
That
topical
cyber defense and stuff.
cyber defense. Yeah, just being a whole new thing.
Yeah.
Well,
I know the UK. Do you remember the UK did a direct entry for cyber as well? We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, I think.
Yeah, they did because they had one for drones as well.
Yeah.
They had a drone one and a cyber one. So I feel like those are the two things that I keep hearing more about is like drones and cyber, like in regards to defense.
Yep, they should set them up as well. If they don't already have them, go for it.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
We'll go to a quick break, and when we come back, we've talked about the US Department of War. Welcome back to the Defence Connect podcast. You've got senior journalist Robert Dougherty and Bethany Alvaro.
Hello.
Our other journalist here, Steve, is not here. He's on holiday.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the US Department of War, and they've cut ties with Harvard.
With Harvard, yeah. The very, very prestigious, very old university in Boston.
Yeah.
I've actually been to Harvard. Didn't go
Really?
there, but I've been to the...
What was it like?
It was cool. It was in 2019, so I was a lot younger. But
I imagine
it was
the
cool.
architecture was quite...
It was beautiful. It was like, Boston is just so pretty though, and it was like snowing. Oh, it was beautiful. Anyway, the Department of War is cutting ties with them because they no longer meet the needs of the department and the military services that that Harvard offers with them. So that will be beginning in the 2026-27 school year. So Pete Hegseth said, "For too long, this department has sent our best and brightest officers to Harvard, hoping the university would be better and understand and appreciate our warrior class. Instead, too many of our officers coming back looking like Harvard, heads full of globalist and radical ideologies that do not improve our fighting ranks."
Doesn't mince words.
Yeah. And then in a separate post on X about it, he said, "Harvard is woke, the Department of War is not." So there we go.
So it's a woke thing, right? They're saying it's DEI. Basically, that's the issue.
I don't think they mentioned DEI, but they mentioned the ties to the Communist Party in China as one of their things. They said, well, Hegseth said, campus research programs have partnered with the Chinese Communist Party, and university leadership is encouraged an environment that celebrated Hamas and allowed attack on Jews and promotes discrimination based on race in violation of Supreme Court decisions. Now, Trump and the Trump administration has been very targeting on Harvard for a while because they haven't, they tried to make them pay for a thing. Yeah, they've had they've had some beef. So now they're cutting that, and they said that they don't want to spend billions of dollars that are undercutting the mission and the values of America. So
I know I'm not so sure about the Palestinian side of things. I imagine there was protests at Harvard, probably was. I do know that there's been speculation that people high up in the Chinese Communist Party sent their kids through Harvard.
Yes, and
that
they
is
have
alleged to have happened.
and there was also allegations that
time.
they've been accepting funding from the party as well.
And
And have had research programs with it said sanctioned entities.
talk about a conflict of interest.
Yeah. But I don't know. It seems.
I mean, where do you
It's
go from
interesting.
Harvard? For Harvard, where do you go from here? Do you go, we're going to cut our own funding?
Well, yeah, it says that they will be
It's
looking
very
at future military programs in other universities as well. But it's funny because Pete Hegseth went to Harvard and has a Master's of Public Policy from there.
Did he hand it back?
On Fox News, he symbolically ripped it up in 2022.
Okay.
But he's technically still has it.
He's still an
he didn't
alumni.
actually rip it up. Yeah. So it's interesting. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
It obviously didn't influence his, I guess,
decision to go there.
Yeah, his thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, true. I don't know. I feel like cutting ties with the university, I'm not too sure how that sounds. I mean, they already cut the education department last year or cut funding to the education department. So cutting more ties with more universities.
If we're looking at this, I guess, in sort of a Trump negotiation style,
Yeah.
usually he would ask for you ask for an outrageous concession, and then you settle for
Something
a
bit
positive
lower.
concession that's not as extreme. I wonder if there's a point where we say, Trump is saying, and Hegseth is saying, Department of War is saying, we're going to cut all your funding unless you fall in line.
Yeah.
Harvard comes back with some sort of concession to say, hey, we're going to clamp down on Chinese students that are from Communist Party, and we're going to bring in some courses that are a bit more war aligned.
Yeah.
That would be a good concession that they might be able to go,
yeah,
please
instead
fund
it's
us.
just completely cut.
Yeah.
So
There's probably a lot of money tied up there.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I wonder if anything will happen with the other, like, Ivy League universities. They said that they're looking into it, so
yeah,
who knows?
Harvard's a big fish. If you're going to go after one with the name, that would
be the first one,
Yeah. On the home front, we're talking more about the defence estate audit as well. That seems like the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
There's more stuff every day. The RSL has come out and said, Return Services League of Australia has come out and said they need to be careful about and hit the brakes on some of this sales because this is an estate sale that the government needs to get right.
Yeah.
And part of that sell-off is a Victoria Barracks in Sydney. There's other sites in Melbourne and Brisbane and WA as well. There's a lot of, I guess, memories for the RSL tied up there.
Yeah.
And I imagine there's some concerns about what will happen to those sites if they're redeveloped or demolished and things like that. I saw also that the Cadets has come out and said they're concerned about regional sites being sold on and those sites losing their Cadets connection.
I wonder how this would affect like the cadet programs that they have.
I think that the Cadets are kind of largely outside of that defence bubble.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't surprise me if there are depots in regional areas that host cadet events.
True, yeah.
Because it's like a natural thing. People are going through Cadets to prepare for military service or as, team building that's military style training.
Yeah.
Makes sense that they would be on a depot.
Yeah, true.
And those are going to be free areas of the community in small towns anyway.
Yeah.
Because they're there and available.
They're already there.
So I think the RSL's, probably got a point here where they're saying maybe you should have a look at which sites are being kept. Yeah. I can't help but think that right now we're at 2.3% GDP defence spend. If we were at 5%, which is the US has said is ideal for NATO countries for their own defence. If we're at 5%, which is I think 3% on military and 3.5 on military and 1.5 on
like industry
infrastructure.
Yeah.
If we were at that 1.5 on infrastructure of the 5%, we might be able to retain some of these buildings.
Yeah.
And if you can redevelop these buildings and they have a strategic purpose, surely that's got to be a win.
Do you think that there are any that would be like particularly noted to keep?
I think any that are in those areas like Victoria Barracks in Sydney, which is obviously one we know of. Yeah. You're never going to get that site back. As soon as that's sold on, it's not coming back to defence. Yeah. Because it'll be too expensive.
Yeah. So aren't they heritage as well?
They will be as well, yeah.
Yeah. That would add another layer to it. Yeah.
So I do think maybe this is an issue where if we had more defence spend, we would have been able to keep some of these buildings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. On that note as well, head across to the treating with Indonesia. That was announced over the last weekend, an Australian-Indonesia Treaty on Common Security. No hard and fast rule here about what happens, if Indonesia goes to war, we don't go to war with them and stuff like that. So there's no concrete stuff there. Yeah. But I guess the government terms that as further enhancing, bilateral security, etc. Very vague. We've offered them basically to establish a new embedded position for senior Indonesian military officers in the ADF. This is something we've seen with PNG as well. Yep. And a few other defence forces. Basically, you have an embedded position. Yeah. I actually wonder what the importance of this is. What's the benefit we're getting out?
I was just going to say, what conflicts would Indonesia be in that we would have a stake in, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, who would Indonesia, go to war to?
I mean, we probably, if there's that global conflict, that polar opposite, US and China.
Yeah.
Indonesia is a massive regional player. We probably want them on our side.
Yeah. Would they be on our side?
I think they're playing the fence at the moment.
Okay.
And they're playing it pretty well.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've got a pretty serious military, but they've got some home problems that to do with education and public welfare and things like that. Housing and food for their own population, and they're probably a bit resistant to choosing a side because if you can get resources from both sides, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But yeah, this whole situation of embedding personnel, I'm not sure what the benefit is we're getting out of, in this case, Indonesia.
Is there other ones that we're getting benefits from?
Well, if it's PNG, we're basically allied with them, right? We're kind of.
Yeah.
And their defence force is basically a part of the Australian Defence Force in that, we help them with some of their home problems, situations, and in return they embed troops with us. Yeah. The government's previously talked about having PNG soldiers working with the Australian Defence Force actually embedded with the Australian Defence Force. So it's, same, right? Yeah. And so it makes sense that we would want to train some officers for the PNG Defence Force because it's for our benefit. Yeah. But if we're training officers for the Indonesian Defence Force, where do they go?
True.
They don't come back into the ADF. Yeah. So, I'm not sure what's going on there.
I actually don't really know too much about South Asia, where they lie with Australia. I know we have a lot of treaties and ties to them, but if a conflict were to break out, they're not the big players in something. So it's who would they align with?
I think the issue is a lot of the Indo-Pacific, some of the nations are fence-sitting, kind of seeing who's going to be most benefit.
Who's going to benefit to them,
Yeah, and there's some players that are allied. So you look at the Philippines, so closely entrenched with the US. Yeah. PNG, very, very closely allied with Australia. New Zealand, very closely allied with Australia. Yeah. But then you look to some of the other nations
I think of Thailand. What's Thailand's?
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. Indonesia.
Yeah. Just seeing which way it's going to go. Because you want to pick the winning side. Yeah. If you're a nation that's still up and coming, you've got to want to growth and develop. Yeah. You don't want to be on the losing side. Yeah. Yeah. On that note, we'll go to a quick break. And when we come back, we'll be talking about the final chapter of the protests in Sydney. Welcome back to the Defence Connect podcast. You've got senior journalist Robert Dougherty and our other journalist, Bethany Alvaro.
Hello again.
Welcome back. And just capping off the protests in Sydney. So this was in relation to an Israeli representative, is that right?
So President Isaac Herzog was invited here by Anthony Albanese to console the Jewish community after the terrorist attack in Bondi. Now, that has obviously been met with a lot of backlash. Yeah. I'll ask you what you think of it in a minute. But
this is because of the whole Gaza-Israel thing.
Yeah. So Palestine. The UN's called him a war criminal. Okay. There's photos of him signing missiles.
Yes. That Is there an arrest warrant out? Is he actually a war criminal?
I don't think there's an arrest warrant out, but the UN Commission
would be for Putin. There's an arrest.
Yeah. The UN Commission of Inquiry named him as a high-profile figure that quote incites the commission of genocide.
Okay. So they're saying he's a bad dude. Yeah.
The International Court of Justice has also said that he has shown evidence of genocidal intent.
Okay.
So people are very unhappy with our government's choice to welcome him here.
Yeah.
And with that tension, I guess, the New South Wales state government declared his visit a major event, classified it as that.
Okay.
Which this is the first time that a foreign official visiting has been deemed as a major event. Normally it's just they're just visiting. There might be a couple more cops out, but it's not a whole thing.
They get an escort or something.
Yeah, the major events categorization, I guess, of it makes it fall under the Major Events Act 2009, which gives the police a lot of special powers, like issuing move-on orders, stop and search warrants of random people. So that's where a lot of the tension does start to lie, and implementing shutdown zones, which is what we saw with the protests. So the protests that happened They were planning to march from Town Hall to Parliament House, but the Parliament House region fell under those restricted zones. And that's where a lot of the conflict happened. Like a lot of the clips that we're seeing, well, a lot of them did start at Town Hall, but a lot of the big clips that we're seeing came from down towards Parliament House kind of area.
In that zone.
In that kind of area. Okay. That's why there was that long...
in the restricted zone.
In the restricted zone. Yeah. That's why there was a lot of police presence there.
Makes sense.
And that's where it escalated a lot more. So during the protests, I mean, I'm sure everyone listening and you probably have seen as well, there was a lot of chaos and violence, I think is how I would describe it. A lot of capsicum spray was used at very close range, which is not typical procedure to do it like this close, you know. Okay.
Yep.
And
unless
there's a lot
you see it in the US. Yeah, it's in the US.
Well, I actually saw an Instagram post that was like comparing photos from the protests here and protests in America, and they're very similar. Obviously, they're different issues, but yeah. A lot of the footage is also showing a lot of protesters being aggressively handled by police. I will say that. Yeah.
There was one being punched. I remember seeing that.
There's a couple being punched. They're being, investigated, I guess. Chris Minns said that some of the footage doesn't look good. That was a quote from him. Okay. So, but he's also very staunchly defending the police force, which, I don't know. It's an interesting one. I think a lot of the clips are very evident of using your force a bit too much.
Okay.
100%, I think. But I think for me, what I think of this is why there are restrictions on protests is beyond me. Like,
I imagine it's some sort of public safety initiative, right? It's basically saying, or is it a safety for the guy visiting?
Well, it's more, the main reason why the major events thing was to block off certain areas because he was speaking at the ICC.
Okay.
Which is interesting because it's not even really near Parliament House. So I don't know why that was in the restricted zone. But they wanted to separate the group between protesters and the Jewish community.
At the ICC.
At the ICC who were listening.
Sense. Yeah. You don't want those two.
That does make
together.
sense. Yeah, I do see that. But it's not even down there. Like the Parliament House where they wanted to march is not even near the ICC. It's not like it's happening in Bondi where there is a high Jewish community and it's obviously where this awful terrorist attack happened. It's not like they were going to protest there. They were protesting in the CBD, the fact that our country has let in someone that the UN and the International Court of Justice and a lot of evidence points to being very complicit in a genocide. They've been welcomed here to our country. Yeah. And then now they're saying, hey, actually don't protest. It's
and we think that Prime Minister Albanese met with him.
Yes,
as well.
I'm not too sure if they have met yet, but he did. Or Albanese said before, I think it was like a week ago, he said that the community should recognize the solemn nature of his visit and bear in mind the way that they respond within the coming weeks. He said, I will treat President Herzog with respect. I've known him for a very long period of time. He is someone who you can have a respectful discussion with whilst examining the differences which are there. So
the two things that kind of stand out for me from this protest, from what I saw, and I didn't see that much, and I have no horse in the race.
Yeah.
But the two things that definitely stood out was, the police were probably
very
a little
aggressive.
Bit chaotic and aggressive. And I think maybe this could be, I guess, an indication that potentially our New South Wales police force or some of the other police are not as well trained for riots and protests as they could be.
Yeah.
When you look at the ones in the US, and they're a pretty bad example, but certainly there are procedures there that they know that they're drilled on.
Yeah.
And when you look at the riots there, stores getting looted and set on fire, etc., the police response is usually pretty coordinated.
Yeah.
And when I see the footage here in Sydney, I think this didn't look coordinated.
No.
And if you're rushing, if you're rushing a line of police forward to go and grab some people out of the crowd, it doesn't look great. It doesn't look trained.
That's where the issues start to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If you're punching a guy,
like there are so many clips of that.
That doesn't look
their
trained.
Hands behind their back. They're not doing anything. There was a video of like a middle-aged older man. Hands are like that, and he's getting punched over and over and over again. Like that's, like I don't think that's very disputable.
I don't know what the training is there, but I would have thought you got to grab that guy. And you put the cuffs on him behind his back, but you drag him back
out and then take him out
lines.
and do what you need to do
Not only
away
is that
from
safer
the scene.
on the police officer, but that's safer on the guy.
Yeah, well, I was doing a lot of reading this morning. A lot of journalists that were there and photographers were getting involved in this and pushed on the floor and their gear and stuff getting damaged. Like, that doesn't seem like very coordinated to me.
Yeah.
The whole reason that they had these restrictions was for social cohesion, is what the government said that was for.
Yeah.
And I think that has clearly done the opposite. People are very upset, and I think rightfully so. I think for me what stands out mainly, obviously the police brutality is disgusting, and I think that there should probably be an investigation into some of those instances because like that's very clear overuse of your force, I think. But I think my main, I don't want to say issue, but my main concern, I guess, lies with the fact that we invited him here in the first place.
Yeah, yeah.
It's obviously a very distressing situation to be invited for. I don't think anyone would be disputing that. But I think what I think is like there are thousands of people every day dying in Gaza, hundreds, thousands every day, whatever. There's no consolidation for them. And it took Australia, nearly 2 or 3 years within the conflict to say, oh, yeah, we support a two-state solution. And now we're going to be inviting the president of that country here.
Would it have been an issue if they had have flown him in and then sent him straight to Bondi?
Like, do you think there would have been protests?
Yeah. Do you think that there still would have been the same protest and violence?
I don't think there would have been the violence because a lot of the Palestine Action Group, who's like the main organizer of these protests, they didn't want a violent protest. They just said that we want to protest where we want to protest. And I think that a democratic country like Australia putting bans on where people can protest is not the right move. Like, if you want to separate the two groups, I understand that, and I see the need for police for that purpose.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. Those groups, the other thing that struck me, those groups, obviously the pro-Israeli people that came to see this guy, they have a right to be protected as well.
I agree with that.
I imagine there's some sort of thing where they say you're allowed this certain area. We've got to basically have cleared.
Yeah,
You can't really diminish their rights by allowing the protesters for.
No, I agree, but
I think
the violence came from them not being able to protest where they wanted to protest, and they didn't want to protest at the ICC. They were going to protest from Town Hall to Parliament House, which is not near where they were. And that's like where a lot of the violence came from. It didn't come from the fact that a lot of it was obviously the fact that he was invited here, but the footage that we're seeing and a lot of the actual physical violence that happened was because they weren't being let forward to march.
Yeah.
So
I think they missed a trick here. If they had to just send this Israeli president guy through to Bondi and then have him do a talk there, get him back on the plane,
in and
wherever
out.
he needs to go, you still could have had your protest in the city.
Yeah.
And then you don't need to police, you can have a few police there, but it's not a huge issue.
It's not as,
You're not trying to enforce some exclusion zone.
It's putting restrictions on. It's not diminishing the right to protest, but it's stripping away the structures, I guess, of what a protest should be, of saying we're free to assemble and free to express our views by pushing that down and trying to cut corners and make it appeal to everyone. I don't know. I don't think it's a good precedent to set.
They try to do everything for everyone there.
Yeah, we didn't see
compromise for everyone.
Yeah, we didn't see any restriction zones for the immigration rallies. And that whole thing, that happens on January 26th. There's no restrictions between the Invasion Day rallies and then the March for Australia or whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, the March for Australia was restricted. I think they tried to do a Sydney Harbour Bridge and they were denied.
But I don't know. This just seems a bit...
Yeah.
The force used by the police in... Obviously not all of it, but in a lot of it is quite confronting, honestly, I would say. I don't think it's a good look at all.
Yeah.
But I just don't know why we even invited him here in the first place.
I do think, looking at it, there needed to be a bit more training there and procedures and probably maybe resourcing as well.
Yeah.
To say there needed to be a professional job. And what we saw wasn't a professional job.
Yeah. Did you see that clip of them just charging at all the protesters? Have you seen, that's not...
Yeah. I mean, when you look at that in the US, you see the riots in the US, burning stores and stuff. A lot of the time they've got a line of police that move forward with shields and stuff.
Yeah.
And they'll just quickly move forward and pick off, a guy and drag him back behind the line or something like that.
Because majority of protesters aren't violent.
Yeah.
And the protesters here weren't violent. It
Just
got aggressive when the police started,
Yeah.
I obviously respect, the Jewish community's mourning, and it's a horrific situation.
Is it is it distasteful for people to be protesting Gaza in relation to this? It's really a visit for Bondi.
Yeah.
For the Bondi attack.
It is, but what about,
it's a different issue.
I think it's just a whole thing of it's someone that has been deemed as a genocidal person, and our government's welcoming him in. I don't know. That doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is a better solution if they just flew him in to Bondi and flew him out.
In and out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And not enforce this inclusion zone.
Yeah, but I'm if we bring people in for every community that's affected, then for one, why aren't we doing it for all of them? Do you know what I mean? I think it just sets a bad precedent.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I wonder if this is going to have an impact on, later stuff. Obviously, Israel is an ally of Australia. They're allied through the US. I wonder if we're going to see sort of some consequences of this.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I want to see if there's going to be any domestic political change from this. Kelly Sloan, the New South Wales opposition leader, called for some of the 4 Labor MPs were there. She called on Chris Minns to sack them. But he said that he's not going to do that. He said that he's not going to be starting an endless
They were in the protest?
They were there.
They were in the protest.
A lot of Greens senators were there, or Greens representatives were there, which, that's fair enough.
Yep.
But Labor MPs were there as well, which, Chris Minns probably said to his party to not go because he was the one saying that it's an unlawful protest. So, but he said that he's not going to sack anyone. So I wonder how this will affect voting as well. I think it'll be
behind closed doors. They'll go. The Chris Minns government will go.
Be reprimanded.
Maybe these
in some
guys don't get positions further up or something.
True. I don't think they were high up MPs, but still, it might be for later. But Albanese did say that everyone needs to turn the temperature down.
Yeah. Okay.
But
seems like the temperature's been going up.
Yeah.
The last couple of years.
I mean, I don't know. I just find it insane that we're putting restrictions on protests, and then you're going to say, "Hey, calm down." Basically.
Yeah.
I don't like that, but
and
I guess we'll see.
I do think there's a point at which, when you look at particularly the US riots and stuff like that, there is a point where protest becomes violent, where there needs to be some restriction there. But it doesn't
these weren't
seem
riots,
like we're
though.
at that
These
level.
weren't riots.
Yeah.
They weren't unorganized, just gatherings of random people. This was organized by a protest group who's been protesting every weekend for a long time, and they do it properly. They go through the courts, they do it properly.
Yeah. They didn't have that court document this time, though.
Well, they went to court and tried to overturn the fact that it was a major event.
Yep.
To try to get their expansion done, but that was so last minute that the actual hearing down or verdict, came as people were arriving at the protest.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So it's how are you going to police that?
That should have been brought
that should have been
earlier.
done a week earlier.
Yeah.
And then and maybe an alternate plan could have been reached. But I don't think 99.9% of people protesting don't go into this trying to start a fight. You know, they go for valid, very fair reasons, I think, to protest this. And this is what they're met with.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
it's
a sad moment, I think,
It's sad to see division, no one wants this. And saying that we're going to put these restrictions on protesting to promote social cohesion, it's done the opposite.
Definitely doesn't feel that cohesive at the minute, community-wise. We've seen certainly, I think Labor polling is doing okay. I'm not 100% sure. But Liberal polling is basically...
Who knows what's even going on with the Liberals right now?
There's a lot of changes happening there.
Yeah.
I know a couple of media outlets, particularly News Corp, are reporting that One Nation polling is up.
But it's not comparatively up, though, to Labor and Liberal, though.
You got to think, though, if One Nation polling is up and you've still got your other bases voting, mainly Labor, that's kind of a sign that the division is growing.
Yeah.
The ideologies are so different.
Yeah, because Labor and Liberal are quite similar these days.
Yeah.
But obviously one nation is a lot more extreme, and seeing that on the rise points to a lot more. Ben Saul was the chair of the international law at Sydney University, and he said the restrictions do not make the public safer and may counterproductively fuel social division. So, and I agree with that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Big stuff.
What a mess.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe there'll be more protests this week. I mean, there's 3 days. This is the third day of protesting. Last night they were at Surrey Hills Police Station protesting the violence.
Okay.
And there were more stuff today. So I'm not sure if there'll be any more, but yeah.
We'll keep our ears out.
Yep.
On that note, thank you for tuning in to the Defence
you.
Connect podcast.
Yeah.
We're on all social media apart from TikTok. Maybe we should get a TikTok.
Maybe.
If you think we should get a TikTok, write in and email us at editor@defenceconnect.com.au. Thank you very much.
Thank you.